yes.
But it's now public information. We have chosen to release this. All right. So forgive me if I'm going to let my curiosity get the better of me. Now, in the first target, let's now break this down, Marshall. In the first target, okay, this is the first camp. Now have a look at this. Okay, the first camp targeted. Now have a look at this. This is a real image. Okay, this is a moving image. Now this is Bimber targeting. All right. Now you see the munition drop here. Okay, the munition is dropping from a static hovering object. Now what it is, I don't know. Okay, I will call it a static hovering object. So you can clearly see that the first munition drops from a static hovering object. It first falls and then it propels itself. So watch this very carefully. Okay, first target Bimber. You are seeing this is static. You see the munition drop, fall, and then it zips away. And it zips away suddenly so fast that within a split second you have an explosion. Okay, so a munition drop, distance achieved from whatever the static hovering object was, then ignition, zoom, split second explosion, and it has reoriented itself in that split second to hit the target. Okay, so the first here, whatever craft we have used, whatever munition we have used here, okay, clearly coming from a static hovering object of a munition that is first dropped, which is not unusual. Generally you would have an ejector pushing this ammunition out to ensure that when the ignitions ignite, it doesn't actually hit the vehicle from which it has emerged from. Sometimes when you're flying at high speed, the hole that the aircraft punches in the air can suck back the munitions. So which is why you actually have rams that push out these munitions in modern day jet fighters. This is obviously not a jet fighter. This is a static flying object. Watch it drop, ignite, and strike. Okay, white plume. So that's number one. All right, now let's move to Kotli Abbas. Let's move on to number two. This is POJK. So without speculating, and of course we can't go into details, I don't know, I don't want to know, but is that rough estimate correct, sir, that it seems to be that the first one seems to be something that has been able to achieve a hovering object within the airspace over the target? This is not a moving object. This is clearly not an aircraft.
So I don't think so, because if you see, it is a zoomed in image. A zoomed in image will always tell you that it will pick up a projectile only when it comes into the field of view of camera. And there are munitions which accelerate just before impact. They have a booster which ignites and it provides it the velocity to penetrate. And so this could be a projectile or a weapon.
So when you say, in layman's term, would be that bunker busting, that it can go through a couple of floors of concrete. Would that roughly be it?
Yes, it can go through. That is what happens is when it gets boosted before strike, it gets accelerated to a higher velocity, which helps it penetrate.
So it would have potentially, it could have a strengthened nose that it would, before it blows up, it will probably punch through some concrete.
Yes.
So it would not explode on impact. It would penetrate and then explode. What the Americans call bunker busters.
Bunker busters and this bunker busters are different. This weapon would have certain amount of strengthening to take care of a particular dimension of the target. Or strengthening of the target.
Okay.
So every weapon is different in its composition, and so a weapon is chosen against a particular target.
So we have obviously used several weapons platforms, as is now it's absolutely it's publicly released. General Kohli, I don't know if you've been able to follow what we are showing on our screens, but it's readily apparent that in the strike at Bimber, you first see the munition drop, it floats for a few seconds, then it just punches, and within a split second there's an explosion, having reoriented itself very, very rapidly. So this is a particular kind of a munitions platform.
You need to unmute me.
Yeah, we can hear you, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. I could not see that on your screen, but I can understand the way you were speaking and what Air Marshal Kapoor also explained it. You see that some UAV or the drone must have been on top where it dropped the sort of bomb and it ignited, got acceleration, and then it has hit. And like you used the word, roughly speaking, bunker busting. Bunker busting we have at the ground level also, and this through air also they have dropped this. But what is more important is, which in the entire thing which you have sort of shown, you see, we had the very accurate information of all these targets. And only then these weapon systems have been chosen. And accordingly, like something coming from top, something coming from the side wall, those things have hit, and that's how these targets have been destroyed. So it was an excellent coordination and the selection of ammunition and the way the whole thing has been coordinated. In the shortest
I'm
possible
going to speculate
time.
since I have no operational experience whatsoever. Okay, I'm restricted to books I've read, but this is the second munition set. Okay. Now I'm going to have to speculate on this with the two people who actually served. They're also speculating because they don't know which exact weapon system this is, and maybe if it's been introduced recently, they would not have operational experience of it. But what you can see in this is Sarjal. Okay, this is Sarjal near Sialkot. Now, in the Sarjal, you can clearly see that what looks like the observation vehicle, which is doing this monitoring, you can clearly see that the camera has its center point here. Okay, there is a separate red point. Now, there are vehicles that are available that light up the target for laser guided missiles. These systems do exist. So if you have a pinpoint target, you can send some kind of vehicle. In the olden days, it used to be a plane. It could potentially be a drone now, that lights up with a laser light so that whatever missile is coming in is able to better identify its target. This is what it seems to me. It could be something else, could be nothing to do with that. It could be somebody in a PPT presentation put a point, but it doesn't look like that. That's an embedded point in the image. So there's a potential here, because now you'll see that the center point of the camera is here. Okay, those are the crosshairs of the camera, and you see a red point over here, which is to the left bottom of that. All right, now watch what happens at that red point. Wait for it. Wait for it. There you go.
Rishabh,
huge explosion. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, General. Yes.
Yeah, what I am commenting is only after hearing you, because I cannot see anything on the screen.
I understand, sir.
No, but doesn't matter. No, doesn't matter. I have understood what you're saying now. You see, what has happened is there in the laser sort of weapons, that there is something called laser designator. These targets are designated first, like you say, lighted first with the laser. That can be done from ground, but not in this case. So the thing which has come from top, it has first designated the target through laser, it has lighted, and then the munition has gone, then it guides itself to that place, to the target. Yeah. That's how probably this thing has happened.
Yeah, laser guided missiles. They're literally called laser guided missiles.
These are PGMs. So these are PGMs, precision guided bombs. These are the ones which have been fired. That's how this kind of precision and accuracy we have achieved.
Okay, so I want you to now notice the difference. Okay, so the platform number 1, which has been utilized, and you're getting the multiplicity. In this case, in Bhimber, the munition, which is obviously some kind of missile because it has propulsion. This is not a dumb bomb which has just been dropped. It has propulsion, and the speed at which it has pivoted to the target from the point where it is dropped within a split second. Now, I don't know how many frames that is, tells you that it also had precision guidance. It has been, and it has the ability to navigate, which means it has either adjustable nozzles or more likely flaps on its rocket output, which is allowing it to very, very quickly pivot itself and hit the target. So now I'm going to play it again. So you now watch this. It's going to fall out. Okay, you can see that looks like that's free fall. Okay, it falls out. Then suddenly it zooms away, and it's zooming in this direction toward the center of the screen, but it actually hits to the right of the screen. So within a split second, it has fallen, ignited, reoriented and hit the target. This is a different munitions platform as to what you're about to watch in this case, which is, I've just pointed out, seems to me, watch this. So the crosshairs of the camera are here. Okay, watch again the red dot. All right, potentially laser guided system here, and watch what happens right below the red dot. Boom, and that required no night vision, that you can see it in full color. All right, now this is the next one, and let me quickly get on the precision laser guided missile. Let me get Air Marshal if is still with us. Is Air Marshal still able to hear us?
Hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you. So I'm just taking us through potential platforms. Air Marshal Kark joining us on the broadcast.
Yes. Can you speak a little louder?
Yeah, I'll try to get that communication to you, sir, as the best that we can. Now, the second platform here, you can see again crosshairs. Watch for the laser spot and huge explosion right under where the red spot is. Now, we are drawing an assumption here, and it's only an assumption that you are lighting up the target with a laser for a laser guided missile. Now, this is the next site. This is Memuna Joya. Okay, this is within Pakistan. All right. Now, very small camp here, 2 buildings with a compound marked in the dotted yellow line, which you can clearly see at the center of your screens. Now, this is the engagement of that camp that has taken place. Now, watch this. This you got to see. Now, in this engagement, you're seeing what is obviously the display of a drone, and everything is visible. We know the wind speed, we know the wind direction, we know the azimuth, we know the altitude, we know the latitude, we know the longitude, we know how much battery the drone had left. Okay, everything has been released. Now, watch what happens as I play this video, which has been released by the Indian Air Force. Have a look. In this case, the platform on which the camera itself is based, which is, I'm assuming, the drone, because you can clearly see a drone there, is zooming in, closing in, closing in, closing in, closing in, closing in, closing in, and the last frame freezes. Watch it again. So, have a look at this. Static, the frame is static. Okay, closing in, picking up speed, closing in, the buildings are becoming bigger, closing in, closing in, closing in, closing in, closing in, closing in, right in the center of the building. There we go. Lost the feed. Okay. So, this is a third type of a munitions platform. What it is, I don't know. What it looks like, that it is a drone that has been flown into this building while being guided or on autopilot mode. Now, the drone screen has an attack mode, okay, a status mode, it has a search mode and a boat mode and a warhead mode. Okay. India's drone capabilities in terms of assault have never been publicly discussed before what has been released today. This is clearly a drone in operation. This drone is capable of being flown manually with a joystick. It can fly to a designated coordinate. It can return to the point of origin. It can go into a holding pattern, which is, I'm assuming, either going around in circles or hovering pattern. Watch the video again. The drone itself in this case is heading straight at the center of the buildings until the last frame is lost and the communication is gone. Okay. This is Memuna Joya. This is within Pakistan, near in that area of Lahore Sialkot, near the salient. Okay. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the main camp in Murid Ke. This is the huge camp over dozens of acres. Okay. 4 strikes. Now watch this. Okay. So far we have identified 3 weapons platforms which are distinct in the way they have attacked their targets. The first weapons platform has dropped a munition which looks like a missile. That missile, after free falling for a second or two, has then ignited and rapidly pivoted to hit the target. The second munitions platform seems to me, as a lay person, that it is laser guided and a device, some kind of aerial device has been used to light up the target for the precision laser strike to happen. The third one looks to me, I'll describe it in layman's terms, as a kamikaze drone. The drone itself has delivered the warhead. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, is the fourth. Now watch very carefully at this part of your screen. You are going to see an almost vertical munition drop. Okay, I'm going to play that again. You see the first strike. Okay, now as we look at the second strike, I want you to watch very carefully this part of the screen. I'll pause it and replay it. Watch, wait for it. There you go, there you go, there you go, there you go. There's the explosion. I'm going to play it again so that you can see it. Okay, here we go. Let's wait for it, wait for it. There. Now have a look at this black dot at the extreme top of your screen. It's very small. Have a look at this black dot. Okay. Now you're going to see it moving downwards in this direction. Okay. Watch. There you go, there you go, there you go. And explosion, plume of smoke. Second one. Now have a look. You can see the third hit over here. Have a look at the next one. This is visible even more clearly. Okay. Wait for the next frame to come. You can see the plume of smoke is lingering here. Massive explosion has taken place. Now wait for it. Again, you're going to watch the munition drop. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Let's watch the munition drop and then you'll see the explosion. Watch out on the center of your screens. There you go. The munition is dropped. Explosion. Okay, that's the explosion. Munition dropped this way. All right, let's watch that again. Watch for it here. There you see the munition drop, explosion. Okay. So that's the fourth. Now there were 4 strikes on Murid K because the camp is so large. All seem to be, the ordnance seems to be pretty high explosive because this is being shot from very far away. Now this is a near vertical drop. Now whether this is also a drone drop or missile strike, I don't know. Looks like a drone drop to me. Okay. So from everything that I can examine here, which is complete layman's knowledge, layman's assessment of what is going on, from what has now been publicly released, is that you're seeing various weapon systems. Many of them are drones, which are either providing real-time videography, providing laser designation, or indeed dropping the ammunition or serving as kamikaze drones. It's been a fascinating exposition. I honestly can't believe all of this has been released, but it has told us exactly what has taken place in no ambiguous terms what has happened. Air Marshal Kak, who has been sitting with me since I began my career in television some 20 years ago. Good to have you with us, sir. I know it's in difficult circumstances. I've never seen imagery like this released to the public before, sir. You may have been privy to some of it during your tenure. I'm sure the drone warfare is more recent. What do you make of what we've just seen, sir?
This is a very well synchronized diplomatic, military, international relations, cognitive warfare combo, which in this difficult hour, India is sharing with the government, the military, the armed forces are sharing with the public, firstly in India, to say this is what we have evolved in terms of precision strikes, utilization of drones, utilization of the type of weapons which have been selected. Incidentally, I may just remind your viewers that similar weapons were used during the Balakot strike, which took 6 years in coming to this day. And this is a Balakot Mark II, but certainly sized up in scale, penetration, and the level of hurt of the national psyche converted into what in international parlance would be termed punitive deterrence. This deterrence is not only for Baisaran, this deterrence is also for the numerous acts of terrorism which have emanated from across the line of control and the border right from 2001. It's quarter of a century. I don't have to enumerate all those incidents. So this is a case of punitive deterrence and a signal to the world that India shall not ever again be self-deterred in not acting against terror, which has happened in the past.
I know there's a larger picture, sir, we're addressing here, but forgive me
as to your precise question, the larger question needs to be addressed.
Fair enough, sir. Yes.
I want to state that this is a very critical moment. We have succeeded. We have messaged. We have done cognitive warfare. We have done strategic communications and signaling to the whole world, and including to our own people, to satisfy them that those videos which were made at Baisaran, their psyche and sadness and huge grief is now, in a sense, solved. But I want to share with you that the two types of weapons, I don't want to go into details. It is not an appropriate forum. You as an anchor, of course, have to educate the public and make them au fait with what happened in this military hour. But the weapon like Scalp is well known. It's in the public domain. Can be released from 500 to 300 kilometers from the target, and it has two dimensions. One is to do the penetration, first act, and second is then the blast. So the precision is so much, as you say in a lighter vein, that you can decide which window the weapon will go through, or which floor it will actually affect the maximum.
Okay.
Are you talking about the videography? Yes, of course, drones can do videography. Any weapon can do videography. But we have in the Indian Air Force, for example, it's again in the public domain. I'm not divulging any operational craft or details of weapons. A weapon called Crystal Maze, which actually releases and videographs through entire process of release and impact everything. And that's what you were referring to, I think.
Yeah.
Actually, when it strikes the ground. So it's conventional aircraft and precision guided weapon which is employed. And that is, I think, at this stage, that's more than enough that I can share.
Fair enough, because I have the privilege of actually having no idea. So therefore, there's no possibility of me letting something slip.
You have a lot of ideas which you have conveyed.
Yeah, but